All right, stuff's getting wild in these draft streets, and the dialogue is intensifying 3 weeks and 2 days away. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on the Odyssey app and Sports Radio 610, 10 to 2 Central, that is. So we have the report from Peter King, and I'm just going to say that was not a report. I saw some media types, presenting it as a report. I saw some headlines that it was a report. Peter King reporting that Nick Caserio talked to Ryan Poles was a report. This was just the speculation that we all partake in. I'm not above it. I love it. But Peter King just put out the possibility of the Texans not taking a quarterback at number 2. In fact, if anyone actually read it that presented it as a report, you would have heard or seen Peter King, I should say this is a complete long shot. So he's just playing the games that we're playing. He's having the fun that we're having. He's getting the draft cabin fever that we have, and he's throwing it out there. Could it happen? Sure. But that's the beauty of this draft is there's uncertainty, there's buildup, et cetera. And we believe, at least at this point, that the Texans are going to take a quarterback in the top 2, either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, who happens to be working out for the Texans tomorrow. CJ Stroud believed to be the favorite in Carolina. There's a big push, Peter King said, that a lot of people like Bryce Young. They might be trying to weigh out those two guys, and the Texans could just end up with the one that doesn't go. So we think it's going to be either CJ or Bryce here. If we were betting people, and some of us are worse than others at gambling, you would bet on CJ and Bryce going number 1 and 2. This is where it gets really interesting, though. And this is where I think the dialogue might actually hold some weight. And that's with the Colts at number 4 and what could happen in front of them. And this is where stuff gets wild, could potentially get wild in the AFC South. Colts are sitting at number 4. There's buzz that they like Will Levis right now. We've heard about the possibility of Lamar Jackson. We've heard about Will Levis. We know that they might have to pick between Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. And we know that the Indianapolis Colts have been in a desperate situation the last half decade or so. And they basically kick the tires on veteran quarterbacks every year. And it hasn't gotten them anywhere. It landed Frank Reich out of Indianapolis and now in Carolina. And it landed Chris Ballard, according to Kevin Bowen out there, in Jim Irsay's office with some awkward conversations during the offseason and leading up to their coaching hire. So Indianapolis, they need to find a quarterback. They could be in desperate situation, and they might like Will Levis right now. I asked Kevin Bowen out there, who do you think that they like at the moment? He said Levis, Richardson, then Lamar. Or Levis, it was Levis, then Lamar, or Richardson, one of those. Here's the thing. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. And this is where stuff could get really wild. We assume Indianapolis wants a quarterback at 4. Or at the very least, they need to do something at quarterback. The Arizona Cardinals are not going to draft a quarterback at 3. And it's been well documented that the Arizona Cardinals are interested in trading this pick. Daniel Jeremiah, in his Move the Sticks podcast, said, and I actually listened to it, he said, don't sleep on Tennessee trading up from 11 to 3. He cited Mike Vrabel's relationship with their new GM, Monty Austinfort, and Tennessee's need to get a quarterback. They're likely going to be done with Ryan Tannehill after this season, and Tennessee is in a position, kind of no man's land, where you don't think Malik Willis is the quarterback of the future. You have a team in your division, 2 teams in your division that are going to get young quarterbacks right now. The other team in your division has one of the most widely regarded best young quarterbacks in the NFL in Trevor Lawrence. If you're the Titans and you want to move up 8 spots, you've seen Carolina move from 9 to 1. You move from 11 to 3. Who's to say you don't give up that same type of package and go up there and get your quarterback? Maybe it's Will Levis. Maybe it's Anthony Richardson. But maybe the Tennessee Titans want to hop a team in their division, go get their quarterback. Maybe he's not going to be ready. Maybe he's a little bit more raw, which some people believe Levis and Richardson is. You let him sit behind Ryan Tannehill for a year, and then instead of being in desperate mode where you're trying to shuffle and find a quarterback to replace Ryan Tannehill, you have a guy that's been in your system for a year. Hell, maybe he's even gotten on the field, and you don't have to worry about that next year. Right now, Tennessee's in no man's land. And we've talked about this. Tennessee's kind of on a treadmill. They're on kind of a not bad enough, not good enough treadmill where you know what your ceiling is with Ryan Tannehill. You have a coach who's going to get the most out of his squad more times than not. And eventually you're going to need to find that quarterback. Why would it not make sense for the Titans to trade with the Cardinals? There are a lot of teams that might make sense to do that. We've talked about the Raiders. The Raiders have been in on the quarterbacks. We've talked about maybe Atlanta. Don't know if Atlanta would do that, but the Titans trading up to 3. Daniel Jeremiah threw it out there, and that would be insanely wild. And let's pretend that Tennessee gets the quarterback that Indianapolis wanted. Does that lead to the Indianapolis Colts just taking Anthony Richardson? Do they take their 4th pick at quarterback, or do they take Will Levis after Anthony Richardson? Do we have 3 straight quarterbacks in the AFC South going? Do we have 3 rookie quarterbacks starting next year? I think we would have most likely 2. Don't know if Ryan Tannehill is going to get beat out. But if you look at all the connections, you look at the coach connections that would be in the AFC South. You have Mike Vrabel, who's the former Texans defensive coordinator. You have Shane Steichen in Indianapolis, who was one of the finalists before the team hired DeMeco Ryans. And then you would have 3 quarterbacks from this draft class all on the same team. And they would be connected forever. I mean, or at least until these coaches were done. It would be wild. Not the craziest thing I've heard. We've heard some crazy things. I think Peter King was just putting it out there. Would probably be crazy if the Texans didn't take a quarterback at 2, but it would be not too nuts to think that Tennessee would trade up and get a quarterback and hurdle a division opponent along the way. So we'd have coach connections, we'd have QB connections, and we would have a lot of drama in the AFC South and a lot of young quarterback talent. And I'm sure Jacksonville would be feeling pretty good about themselves knowing that they would have Trevor Lawrence and then 3 rookie quarterbacks. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot going on. Draft time is picking up. You can almost feel it. It is April. Seems like the days are going faster and faster. But before you know it, we'll be there. We're 23 days away. I got you covered with all of the noise, all the speculation. We'll discuss it. It's fun to do. Talk about all the reports and all the possibilities. But 3 straight quarterbacks in the AFC South. Imagine it. It would be wild. Is it really too far-fetched to think that it could happen? Subscribe, like, ride along. Listen to me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 610. When it comes to this Texans stuff, whether it's 3 rookie quarterbacks, whether it's one rookie quarterback, hell, whether Peter King's long shot happens and the Texans don't take a quarterback. When it comes to this Texans stuff and the wild speculation leading up to the draft, we are all in this together.